Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Tara, and today we're going to talk about different ways that you could stretch your hamstrings. The hamstrings are the muscle that is on the back part of your thigh, and there's actually a lot of different ways that you could stretch this muscle. So the point of today's video is to help you determine what stretch is best for you and your body. To do that, I'm going to show you different ways you can stretch your hamstrings, and we'll talk through the pros and cons of each stretch. So like I said before, the hamstring is located on the back part of your thigh, so that means when you're doing any of these stretches, that's where you want to feel it. So you don't want to feel any pain in your lower back, you don't want anything shooting down the leg, and you don't want to feel anything like numbness or tingling. I say this because of the location of the hamstring. You do really want to make sure that the stretch is really isolated to the muscle and that you're not like irritating a nerve. So if you do have any of those symptoms with your hamstring stretch, then I would recommend seeing a doctor or a physical therapist for further evaluation. With all of these stretches, you do want to hold them about 30 seconds so they are actually creating length and stretching through the muscle. So my recommendation for all of the stretches is going to be a 30-second hold and repeating that 3 times. And just know that one hamstring might be more flexible than the other. That's totally normal. Like my left hamstring is more flexible than my right, and most people will have a side that is a little bit more flexible. So the first stretch I'm going to show you is the type of hamstring stretch that I feel is usually the best overall for a majority of people. It's called a supine hamstring stretch with a strap. So basically you're going to lay on your back, you're going to hook the strap around your foot, and then you're going to keep that knee straight as you bring that leg up, as you kind of see me doing here, until you feel a stretch in your hamstring. Make sure you keep your upper body relaxed as you pull the leg in so you're not lifting your upper body off the mat. The other leg can stay out straight on the floor. You can bend it if this is more comfortable for you, but I kind of like having it out straight because then you actually get a little bit of stretch in the front of the hip on the other side, so it's like 2 for 1. And you might not go as far as I'm going here. Your leg may be more like this height, and that's totally fine. Work with where you're at today. So the pros of this variation is that it doesn't require you to flex through your spine. So if you do have any lower back issues, this variation is probably going to be better for you because you don't have to move through the spine to stretch the hamstring. It's also good for those with bone density issues like osteoporosis, osteopenia, again, because you don't have to flex through the spine. Another pro is this variation is probably going to be the best if you do have really tight hamstrings. Some cons, I guess, of this stretch are if you have really flexible hamstrings, you might not feel this stretch as much. So with some of the other variations I'm going to show you, you may feel the stretch more. It's not true for everyone, but sometimes the other stretches, if you have really flexible hamstrings, you can get into the hamstrings a little bit easier. Also, I don't know if this is really a con, equipment is required, you do need a stretch strap, but technically you could try to like DIY it yourself at home and make something work. I will link a stretch strap in the description below if you're interested in purchasing one for your stretching, but you can also like use a sheet and wrap that around and use that as your strap. Sometimes you could use a towel if it's long enough, sometimes it might be too short because you want to make sure you're keeping your upper body relaxed as you pull the leg in, so you don't want to be lifting the upper body up. Option number 2, I call it half split pose. If you want the yoga term, it's Ardha Hanumanasana. I don't know if you guys even care about that, but yeah, I like yoga terms and I like to use a Sanskrit name when I can. So even though it's called half split pose, it kind of sounds scarier than it actually is. So basically you're going to be kneeling on one knee and then your other leg is going to be out straight in front and you're going to be on the heel of that foot. So for stage 1, you're going to keep the torso up nice and tall, and this might be enough of a stretch for you. And then if you want more of a stretch, then you could start to fold forward to deepen the stretch in the hamstring. If you do choose to lean forward, I don't want you to like really round forward. You want to keep the spine long and straight, so you're really only leaning forward as far as you can do this. Also, try to keep your hips square. So the side you're kneeling on sometimes will want to like kick out to the side. Try to keep yourself stacked over your knee. The pros of this stretch are, for those of you that are a little bit more flexible in the hamstrings, you may feel a deeper stretch in this variation. I do like this stretch because I feel like the pressure of the leg on the ground does give you a little like traction, I guess, in the leg, and I do feel like I can get a better stretch in this variation. But the supine hamstring stretch is great as well. Some cons, or maybe a pro, I don't know. This variation is going to be a little more challenging to your balance, so if that's something you do want to work on, then that's kind of a pro. If it's kind of limiting what you're getting out of your hamstring stretch, then I guess it's a con, so we'll just say that's a neutral one. If you're dealing with lower back issues, lower back pain, or bone density issues, osteoporosis or osteopenia, I would recommend you could do the variation where you're just sitting up nice and tall and having that leg out straight. I wouldn't recommend leaning forward and doing the stretch. If you're not getting enough of a stretch with the torso up straight, then do the first variation, the supine hamstring stretch. Next is going to be a standing forward fold. I think a lot of people think that this is how they should stretch their hamstrings, but I think for most people it's probably the least effective way to stretch the hamstrings. But let's still look at this stretch. So basically you're just standing with the feet together. You're gonna keep your knees not totally locked out. You want them straight, but you want like a micro bend in the knees, and then you're going to fold forward. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So let's look at the pros and cons. A pro of this, if you have really flexible hamstrings, you might feel good doing this stretch. You might be able to get into the hamstrings well. Another pro is that as opposed to the other variations, it is kind of a nice way to just let go, because you're kind of just, if you have the flexibility, you're able to just really relax the torso, let go, and relax into this forward fold. In yoga, doing poses like this can be helpful if you're trying to look inwards and be in a more relaxed state. The cons of this stretch, if you do have lower back issues, for most people, it's not going to be ideal. I mean, everyone who has lower back issues, it's not going to be exactly the same, but this tends to put a lot of, I guess, strain on the lower back. So you may be better off doing one of the other variations. Again, bone density issues, osteoporosis, osteopenia, we don't want to be doing forward folds like this, so this wouldn't be for you. And then for people who have blood pressure issues, retinal issues, or any medical conditions where you don't want the blood rushing to your head, then this stretch is not going to be for you either. So the last stretch we're going to go over, it's called Janu sirsasana in yoga or in Sanskrit. So basically you're going to be sitting, so one foot bends in, so that foot goes to the inner thigh, and the other leg is out straight. So basically you're kind of turning your body to make sure you're facing forward toward your legs, because in this position your body is going to want to turn and open toward that bent leg. And then you're stretching here. So again, just sitting up tall might be enough for you to stretch the hamstring. If you want more of a stretch, you're going to start to fold forward, again, only as far as you can go while you're keeping length in the spine. Also with this variation, if you forward fold and say the left leg is out straight, the ribs are going to want to kind of fall down. So like your left rib cage is going to want to fall down toward that leg, and you really want to lift up through that left rib cage so that you stay facing forward over that straight leg. So again, this is going to be like a combo pro-con. So when you do this stretch, you're going to be getting a stretch of the hamstring with the leg that's straight out. So say the left leg straight out, the left hamstring is going to be stretched. If you do start to lean forward, you're going to also get a stretch of the right side of the lower back muscles. So this might be a pro if this feels good for you, but also it could be a con if you do have lower back issues. And also, I do think that this stretch, it's not isolating your hamstrings so much because of the way it's stretching your lower back. So if you're really trying to isolate the hamstrings, I would go with one of the other variations that we talked about. And because it is stretching the lower back, if you do have lower back issues like back pain, this might be irritating for you, so it might not be the option you want. And I know I'm repeating myself in case someone's skipping around on the video. Again, bone density issues, osteoporosis, osteopenia, you're not going to be wanting to do a forward fold. So with any exercise or stretch, you want to do what feels good for your body. So listen to your body and do what feels good for you. I think, like I said at the beginning of this video, the overall conclusion that for most people, the best stretch for the hamstring is going to be the supine hamstring stretch using the strap. But yeah, I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button right below me, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.